Yo, what is happening, guys, and welcome back to the Let's Talk Fighting channel. And as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are talking about Jake Paul's fight versus Andre August. It is literally coming up. I believe it is tomorrow. Yes, I got the Santa hat on. Yes, I got the tree on because we in that festive mood, baby. But we talking about Jake Paul versus Andre August coming up tomorrow. Now, a lot of people completely forgot this fight was happening because there's not much promotion. The press conference the other day, the weigh-in was today. Not much promotion, and it's non pay-per-view. So, a lot of people have forgotten about this. A lot of people were asking questions, why is Jake Paul fighting and not posting his pay-per-view? And Jake Paul basically explained that he's fighting a real boxer this time, and he's not going to make a pay-per-view because this fight isn't about the money. This fight is about gaining that recognition that he's wanted for beating and fighting a pro boxer. That's what Jake wants. We all know it, whether Jake says or not. He wants the recognition. He wants people to say, okay, you beat a pro boxer, you're a boxer now. He wants people to say it. He wants that recognition from the mainstream boxing community to actually acknowledge the fact that he can beat a pro boxer now and that he is good enough. So he decided to fight Andre August, which is 10-1-1. Good record. Obviously, it is not a historic record. It is the same type of record as any other boxer who would be around that, which is basically they've beat people who maybe have a losing record, who aren't really that good, but are uncompetitive at that low level. That's how it works. Mayweather, it's Jake Paul basically said Mayweather done it, Mike Tyson done it. Everybody at that level is fighting people who aren't amazing because at that level you're not supposed to be fighting world champion. You fight other people who have come into the sport, who are the same age range level as you, and then you beat them and you pad your record a little bit by beating these guys to prove that you're above the bottom of the barrel, and then you move on, you get championships and you get all that. So, yes, this guy hasn't been anybody who's amazing, but I've watched some highlights of his fights, and this guy is no joke. This is going to be a tough fight for Jake Paul, and I want to make this very clear. This is going to be a tough fight for Jake Paul because this guy actually knows how to box. This guy actually knows how to box. Whether you want to admit that or not, whether you want to give Jake the credit or not, this guy knows how to box. I don't know what his amateur record is, but I heard that he held a few titles in the amateurs. Obviously, 10-1-1. He is a very good brawling boxer. Now, one thing Jake has not fought yet is a brawler. He fought Tommy Fury, which put combos together and put the pressure on him, and we saw Jake could not handle the pressure. But he didn't put volume on him. He didn't try to brawl him. Anderson Silva, got in, got a little bit dirty, but he didn't put loads of volume on him. Nate Diaz didn't put loads of volume on him. So what we've seen is Jake's biggest downfall, in my opinion, is when people put pressure on him and up the volume and continuously throw in a brawl, because usually Jake is the brawler and they're the boxer, like they're trying to stay at a distance, then they come in, and then whenever they come in, that's when Jake catches them. Usually he's in his element there. But this guy, Andre August, he actually fights better up close. He does the lead left hook. It's a nice, beautiful lead left hook. He gets inside, and what he actually does, which I like, instead of clinching you and putting your arms down, blah, blah, he clinches you in the form of he leans against you and he does body work. He goes to the head. He does all of that. So he wears you down. Now, the things that help Jake Paul in this fight is Andre August, 10-1-1, like I said. But over the COVID period, he didn't fight. And he took, I think it was a 3-year break, and only came back for his first fight in August, I think it was, of this year. So he's only been back after 3 years for one fight. And in that last fight, he looked kind of slow. He didn't look as sharp. Obviously, you don't forget how to box. This guy still knows how to box, but after 3 years of being off, you're going to be a little bit rusty. Now, he may not be that rusty in the Jake fight. He may have just been rusty for the first fight back. But either way, he's a little bit rusty. He was a little bit slow. He was walking in with his chin in the air. But at the same time, he was walking in with his chin in there, and if Jake catches him, well, then that's good. But if Jake doesn't catch him, well, then that's not good for Jake. And Andre August will walk him down. He'll put the pressure on. He'll go to the body. He'll piece the combos together. He will throw the volume, because this guy hits hard. When he throws hammers. He gets into it. He throws them heavy. And that is exactly what he's going to plan on doing. And I genuinely think Jake Paul needs to understand. I hope Jake Paul does not do the same thing as he did against Tommy Fury, where he just relies on that right hand to be a boxer. Jake Paul needs to understand, right? I hope he's worked on his jab. I hope he's worked on his combos. I want to see the Jake Paul that fought Anderson Silva, not the Jake Paul that fought Tommy Fury, not the Jake Paul that fought Nate Diaz. The Jake Paul that fought Tommy Fury, the one that fought Nate Diaz, the one that even fought Tyron Woodley, just kept going for a right hand. That was it. Didn't try to box him, didn't try to build it up. He just wanted that right hand. The Jake Paul who boxed Anderson Silva, which in my personal opinion is still his best performance to date, was the Jake Paul who goes, right, the right hand will come. So when Jake is relying on that right hand, not good. See, when he actually boxes and just waits for it, it will come. In the Anderson Silva fight, he landed the right hand. He didn't knock him out, but he knocked him down. That was the right hand he was waiting on. So I think Jake needs to come in this as a boxer. I think Jake needs to understand that you picked this guy for a reason. You clearly picked him because he had a couple years off and he's only been back once, yes. But you also picked him because you knew he'd be a challenge and you want the credit for beating him. So Jake obviously picked someone who has more experience on him, who's going to be a challenge, but he also picked him after coming back for years, which was smart to make it more of an even playing field, because at the end of the day, this guy probably has a decorated boxing career. He's quite good. Probably, I'm pretty confident he's boxed all his life. So the experience is not close. So that kind of brings the experience a little bit closer. So it's smart on Jake's side, and you can't even hate on it because at the end of the day, this guy still has so much more experience now. But the issue, Jakey boy, is Jake wants to get recognition for beating the boxer. Here's where the issue comes in with that. What I've seen, if Jake beats this guy, you gotta give Jake his credit. Whether you like him or not, you gotta give Jake his credit. He's beat a boxer. I don't care. We're gonna hear the excuses, but he's beat a boxer at that point. You have to give him his credit. The issue I think we're gonna run into, and it is, say Jake wins and beats Andre August. Say he beats him by unanimous decision. If he beats him by decision and he outboxes him or whatever, people are going to turn around and say Andre August sucked anyway. He wasn't that good. If he was that good, we'd know about him. This is the problem with fighting a guy who isn't that well known, is people judge how good you are of a boxer off the recognition you have, not how skillful you are. It's like KSI and Jake Paul, they've done the boxing for YouTube standards. They're good. But there's people who out there who are fans of KSI, who are fans of Jake Paul, who believe that they could beat Canelo because they're fans of them and because they're well known. Because they're like, oh, I know who KSI is more than Canelo, so KSI will win the fight. Oh, I know who Jake Paul is more than Canelo, so Jake Paul will win the fight. That's not how it works. People seem to think that status wins you boxing matches when it's not. It doesn't matter how good you are. Tommy Fury is more well known than Fidel Riley, and I think Fidel Riley wins that fight quite easy. That's the perfect way to explain it. No disrespect to Tommy Fury, of course, but I just think that's the way it is. He has more recognition, but Fidel beats him. And that's the way I feel it. Status does not win you fights. And I think if Jake beats this guy, if Jake knocks this guy out, people are going to go, oh yeah, but it was the same as the Ben Askren one and the Tyron Woodley one. Yeah, it's a cool knockout, but he wasn't that good, because if he was that good, he would have a world title and he would have this. Because people are, for some reason, saying to Jake, oh, if you want to prove you're a boxer, go fight a world champion. But other boxers who they consider really good wasn't fighting world champions at that point, because they're not supposed to. They're supposed to build up a record. They're supposed to. So if he beats him, I don't think Jake's going to get the recognition that he actually thinks he's going to get. If Jake loses, Jake cannot lose. If Jake loses to this guy, right? As I said, status. If you beat him, you won't really get that much recognition. You'll get recognition from people who actually know boxing and pay attention to detail and actually give Andre August the credit of, he's not a world champion, but he's a decent level boxer. And you beat him, fair play. But then you'll get the ones who won't give you credit. And if you lose, people will view it as you lost to a guy who you didn't think was good enough to give a pay-per-view. And I don't think it's the fact Jake didn't think it was good enough to get a pay-per-view. I think Jake wanted more people to watch this. So he didn't do a pay-per-view. He wanted more people to watch this so he could beat a pro boxer, because he wanted to just prove something this time instead of make millions, which is fair. It should have been promoted a little bit better. But, people are going to be like, you didn't even give him his own pay-per-view. I don't know who the hell he is, and you lost to him, which means you suck. That's people's logic, because like I said, status wins boxing matches in people's minds. So they're going to view it as, we didn't know this guy and he beat you, so clearly you're not that good. But the thing is, this is a competitive fight, and if Jake beats Andre August, give that man his credit. Again, that doesn't make Jake world level, but that makes Jake take a step in the right direction of where he wants to go. He obviously wants to be world champion. We're not even going to get into that. But if he wants that goal, in his head, for him, whether you believe he's going to do it or not, that is the right direction. That is a step in the right direction. You're stepping on the right stone to go forward because you've beat a boxer now. You don't have to be the world champion. You beat someone at this level. That's pretty fucking impressive because there's boxers who are world champions who weren't fighting people with that type of record at this level. They were still fighting like 7 and 16 guys. So that's pretty impressive. And then you get to move on. So that's my whole take on the fight. Who do I think is going to win? I think it's going to be a very, very tough fight. I think Andre August is going to cause Jake Paul a lot of fucking problems. And I think he's going to get in, he's going to get dirty, and I think he's going to rough him up a little bit. I assume it's 8 rounds, like every other fight Jake's had. If it is 8 rounds, I think it will be a very, very, very close decision for Jake Paul. And I think it might be a controversial one. Because I think if it is close and you could teeter it. I think if it's close but Jake wins, Jake will win. If Andre August batters him, well then Andre August will win. But I think if it's close and Jake and Andre August are both very close fight, I think they edge it towards Jake. Because Jake's going to be the one bringing in the numbers, not Andre August. Because if Andre August beats Jake Paul, people are going to laugh at Jake, but they're not going to focus on Andre August win. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, see, I told you he's good. They're just going to laugh at Jake. If Jake wins, they're going to get annoyed with Jake because he won. Either way, either outcome, the person people care about is Jake. Whether Andre August wins or loses this fight doesn't do anything for him. Jake, this is lose everything or gain a tiny bit of respect, So Jake is the main selling point here. And I think that if that's the case, they're going to lean it because they're not going to have Jake lose to someone who could damage the reputation because he can sell pay-per-views and the zone's not going to let that happen. And we all know boxing is a corrupt sport. I'm not saying that Jake wouldn't deserve to win. We'll need to see that. But I'm saying if it is a close fight and you can teeter it either direction, I believe it will be a draw or Jake Paul win by decision. More or far closer to that than it would be an Andre August win on decision, in my opinion, unless Andre August completely dominates him. That's my take on it. So I got Jake Paul by decision. I do think Jake Paul will win, but I think it'll be a very close fight. But we'll all agree, we will. People who actually aren't biased will agree Jake Paul wins, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was a very close fight. It could go either way, and then they give it to Jake, even if you think Andre August won that 1 point. I wouldn't be shocked if they give it to Jake because that would be the right business move. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. It's going to happen soon. I'm excited for it. I actually forgot about it for a little bit because they didn't do promotion. But, can't even hit. But we're going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it. I don't even have to pay for pay-per-view this time, so that's great. Hope you all enjoyed as always. Let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think? What do you think of Andre August? Do you think he's actually a good boxer? What is your opinion of his record? Who do you think is going to win? Jake Paul, Andre August? How do you think they're going to win? Do you think Jake's going to knock him out? Do you think Andre August is going to knock Jake out? Do you think this is make or break for Jake? Do you think Jake is going to show he can be a pro? Or do you think Jake is going to crumble and lose and tarnish everything that he's tried to build over the past 4 years in boxing? Let me know in the comments down below. But as always, think positive, test negative, have an amazing day, stay safe. Christmas. Jingle bells. I'll see you in the next one. So, peace.